When Dr. Heidi Jans was born, her parents were advised by doctors to put her into an institution and forget they ever had her. Thankfully, her mother didn't listen. Today, at the age of 46, Dr. Jans is an award-winning playwright, author, researcher, PhD scholar, and adjunct professor at the University of Alberta. She also has cerebral palsy. I'm stubborn, Jans laughed, so if people tell me I don't think you can do it, I'm going to do it. Dr. Jans' presentation today is on community building, an essential survival skill for people with disabilities. So can you please help me in welcoming Dr. Jans to the stage? Maybe the lapel mic. Do you want the lapel mic? You're okay?
Today on community building and skill for people with disabilities. Yeah.
One most temporarily able-bodied people, tabs, think of living successfully with disabilities. They most often think of a lone supercrip who, through her or his extraordinary determination, accomplishes something thought impossible. While it's natural to admire individual determination, I found that it's been the support I've received from the various communities of which I'm a part that's made the most challenging of my achievements not only possible, but also worthwhile. I view community building as a survival skill for people with disabilities. So, I want to tell you about some of the supportive communities I built around me in different contexts. I hope this might help you recognize and build your own supportive communities. This is new with my principal, turned mentor and lifelong friend, Henry Unruh. Henry was instrumental in my getting to university, and through university, he taped all the reading for a master's and a PhD in English, roughly 2,000 hours of reading. When I became the first disabled student in the honors English program, I was apprehensive about how students and staff might respond to my disabilities. But many of them became a community of support, helping me with daily tasks, like getting my jacket off and on. Me, at my undergrad convocation, with my friend and mentor, Dr. Bruce Stovall, my first professor, and, 13 years later, my PhD supervisor. Throughout my 18 years as a university student, Bruce proved my strongest ally. This is the company for my first produced play, Crips Against the Law of Gravity, which premiered at the 1994 Edmonton Fringe. As with my academic career, one of the most rewarding aspects of my work as a playwright is cultivating community among my theater colleagues. My 2001 Fringe play, Return to Sender, took on the difficult subject of so-called mercy killings of disabled children by their parent. Able-bodied teenage leads, Laura Raboy and Mary Pat Schlosser, brought exceptional courage and dedication to their portrayal of best friends who have cerebral palsy. This is the company for the 2011 Fringe production of my play The Book of Jobs. You may recognize director Jan Taylor and actress Laura Rabu from the previous picture. I find that creating community facilitates the development of friendships and long-term working relationships. Having grown up with a German heritage, I found something very resonant about this sign I encountered in the German section of Kitchener, Ontario. I think that, whether we are disabled, and or of German descent, or otherwise, there's a part of each of us that would prefer to remain totally self-reliant. But, if there's one thing that my almost 5 decades of living with disabilities has taught me, it's that you will, inevitably, find yourself in situations where things go sideways. And, without help from other people around you, you'll simply be toast. Those are the times when you need to trust and rely on others to help get you going again, realizing that this can sometimes be quite a scary proposition. Of course, it's also important that those to whom you turn for help have a good grasp on the situation. Something else I've come to realize is that there will be times when you simply have to ignore the expectations of others if you want to reach the goals you've set for yourself. A case in point was this trip that I took to England with a friend in 1996. Then, too, there have been times when I found myself doing things that I never dreamed were possible, and not because of my own determination, stubbornness, but rather because of the determination, stubbornness, of my friends. For example, what do you get when you bring together an undergraduate student advisor, a retired school principal, a pastor, and 2 English professors? Well, in this case, I got the advisory board for an ad hoc publishing company called Crip Press. Through Crip Press, and its very determined board, I raised the funds to publish Sparrows on Wheels, the young adult novel I wrote as my master's thesis. The novel follows an aspiring writer with cerebral palsy, and her classmates, through their junior high and high school years at a special school. I've been affiliated with the John Dossiter Ethics Center since 2006. In the spring of 2010, budget cutbacks had the university poised to shut down the center. Largely through a letter campaign to show that the community wanted the center to remain open, we managed to save the center. The Ethics Center battle wasn't the only time I felt like my goose, or perhaps pig, was cooked. In June 2013, AHS up and decided to nix the user-run home care program at Creekside Condos, where I live, and give the home care contract to a private agency. Knowing that this change would jeopardize our independence, and likely our very lives, friend and neighbor, Ken Tate, and I, spearheaded a publicity campaign to convince the government to reinstate the contracts of user-run home care service providers. Miraculously, we got a meeting with Premier Alison Redford and Minister Dave Hancock to make our case. 2 days later, our home care contracts, and the contracts of 2 other user-run home care providers, were reinstated. It was a victory for the entire disability community.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Jens.